Good morning, guys. So this is going to be part 7 of the shed build, and on this episode I'm going to be working on installing the siding and also building the barn door, which will be the big door that's on the end. I didn't get enough siding to do the entire shed, but what I'm going to focus on for now, what I can get done, is going to be the long wall here and then the other end wall here. So that's the two sides that are most exposed to weather and rain and whatnot. But I mean, like I said on the last video, it's technically dried in now. So the other thing that I'm going to have to start doing is I'm going to have to start moving everything out of the container, because I only have a week or so until it's going to need to be returned. Otherwise I'll have to make another payment on it, or partial payment, and I don't want to do that. So that's what's going to be happening in this video, episode 7 of the shed build. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. All right, so the material that I got, the siding material, it's called triple lap, and it is basically, I think it's like a fiberboard composite type material, and it has 5-inch faces, and then it has the grooves in there. So this is the exact same material that's used on our house. The only difference that I noticed was that this one, the channels have it's a flat cut, and then the one on the house has a little bit of a radius in it, which they probably did over the years. I mean, the house was built in '93, I think, so they probably changed the tooling. Maybe it's, cheaper to make it this way or whatever, but it's essentially the same material. So that is what's going to be going on the house, on the shed. And this is 16-inch material, and then it's 16 feet long, and then it has the lap, basically kind of like tongue and groove, but there's no groove. It's just it overlaps. So if you look on the underside, see how it has this cut in here? So that fits right over top of the piece that's on the other side, and then that's how you match it up. So then you basically start at the bottom and then you build up from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this side, and I think I'm going to do 3 pieces high, and then I want to do this side and do 3 pieces high, and that should get me right up to the level of the windows, the bottom of the window, and then we'll go from there. Because I know once I start cutting pieces to go in between the windows, I just want to make sure that I have enough to cover these 2 sides. And then if I do end up having any more material left over, then I'm going to start doing this side here. Oh, hottie. So basically this is going to be 2-foot pieces, because the door, is a 48-inch door. So it'll be 2-foot pieces on both sides of the door until I get up above the door. And then of course, going to be building this door in part, as part of this video. So this will be getting cut, and then the door will be getting installed. Did I mention how much I love my new saw? All right, so I have the first piece cut and it's installed. We actually left because it started raining this morning when I was working on it. So we made a run to Home Depot. I needed to get some nails because the screws don't really work with this that well. And then I also bought the material that I'm going to be using to make the door. So we came back and it's sunny. I mean, there's clouds, but there's a lot of blue sky too. So better conditions to work in. So now I'm going to continue up this wall, another 2 pieces, and then I'm going to go down this wall and do 3 pieces. All right, now I have the first 3 sheets up on each side. As you saw in this last one, I had a little trouble, so my wife came out and helped. This one had a little bit of a warp right here, so it wasn't sitting on the lip, and that's why I wasn't able to get it to just stay up there like the rest. Because once it's sitting on the lip, then you can kind of just hold it with one hand and adjust it. But this is 14 feet, so I guess it's kind of long to manage by yourself. So I still got to go back in, and I got to put in all the nails. So this bottom one has all the nails. As you can see, there's 3 nails on every beam. All of these, I just put in 1 nail on the top just to hold it in place. I started putting in the nails here again, so I got to go back and I got to put in all the nails. This is a time that I really wish that I had a nail gun. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then when I get ready to continue, I will do some more filming on this. So basically I'm going to do the next 3 sheets will get me all the way up to the top, and I'll probably have to actually trim the top rafter to go around this purlin and maybe a little bit where the roof comes down there. And then there will be a little bit of a gap up there, which I may end up having to put a trim piece over that or something. I'm not sure, because I don't think I'm not going to be able to cut a piece of paneling that's going to fit in there. It would be a really weird cut. So I may end up doing some kind of a trim, or I might just end up doing a soffit in this whole thing, which basically would just kind of close it out where the rafters are sticking out. And then on this one, I'm not cutting a piece here. So this is going to get a piece of trim on the bottom of the window, so it'll cover that space. And then above this, when I measured it out, there's going to be about 1.5 inch gap between the second panel and then the next panel up. So that will also be covered by trim. So yeah, gonna continue on. Wow. Hammering nails is exhausting. All right, now to continue with the rest of the back side there. All right, so it's just as I figured. This last board I'm going to end up having to trim to fit. I think somewhere back in here is where it's going to be clear. I'm just going to have to measure it out, see where it is on here, and then kind of cut into it. I guess I'm going to cut out where this purlin is. If that's focusing, it looked blurry. So yeah, I got to figure that out. All right, so the way that I'm going to measure this is I go from my lap here, and it is just about 15 inches, 15 1/8. So then I go over here and I put 15 1/8 on top of this lap, which is where that lap will sit. So 15 1/8, 15 1/8, and then I bring it in roughly until I hit the ceiling, which is right about at this beam. So right there is where I'm going to start my angle cut. And this beam, if I measured from the corner to the beam, is right about 21 inches. So what I did was I measured down, I measured this distance here. So the top of the lap to the roof is 14 1/8. So from this lap, I measure 14 1/8 and I mark it. And then I measure my 21 inches in and I mark it. And then I run an angle, which is this line here. And then I take my 2x4, which I measured from the corner edge to where the purlin is, and I traced a 2x4 on here. I basically lined it up with this line, which is going to be the roof. I put my 2x4 on here, traced it, and then I marked an 1/8 inch on each side all around. So that's going to be my cutout. All right, so there's my cutout. That's for the first purlin, and there's an angle here. Kind of hard to see just looking at it, but there's an angle cut there. So now this piece should fit right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one on. Okay, so this side is totally done. Everything is nailed. Minus this little piece right here, which I'm not really concerned with right now because the siding is higher than the roof line, so I don't really need to worry about anything getting in there for now. I got to see how I have scrap pieces, and then when I can have a piece that I can cut this part out of, then I will do that and then get that done. So everything is nailed on here. Now it's time to continue over here, and I'm basically going to be cutting the short pieces that'll go here, here, and then down at the end. And then they will come up just above the window, and then the last piece will go from here up into the rafters. So yeah, now I got to start doing some cutting. All right, so all of these are done, and like I was saying, there's a gap, below here. This is going to be covered by a trim piece, as well as up here. You can see where the little ridge is here, so the next piece will come down to about right there, and then there will be a trim piece that covers this up here as well. And then, of course, there will be silicone all around the trim pieces to the window as well. Hey. Oh, it's blue. So it's the next day. I went ahead and got this painted up this morning. What's installed so far. I wanted to make sure to get this side painted just because it hadn't rained the last couple days. And when it does rain and the rain comes off the roof, it hits the ground, splashes mud and dirt up all over here. I don't know if you noticed on the house wrap before, there was a bunch of speckles of mud and stuff up there from the rain. So of course it's not totally painted. I did one coat on all of it, and then I did a second coat from the bottom all the way up to the windows all the way around. So that one should be good. 2 coats is usually pretty good because that paint is nice and thick exterior paint. So what I'm going to be working on now is going to be cutting this top piece, which is going to be quite a bit of work. I'm going to need to rip it first, which means cutting along the long edge so that it fits up in there. And then I'm going to have to be cutting out spots for each of the rafters. And then we will fit that piece up in there. And then also, I will be cutting the pieces for this side, which you can see the 2x4s, they're underneath the house wrap. So that's basically the width of the wall here, as well as over there, you can see, which is, they're about 2 feet. I think maybe just over 2 feet actually, because this whole wall is 8 foot 9 inches and the door is 48 inches. So I guess these should be, about 28 inches or so. But yeah, that's next. All right, so this piece is up now. I will end up having to do some trim work around this. That's a little bit lower than what I was wanting. So if I do end up putting a soffit on this though, it'll probably cover that, but we'll see what happens. So this side is totally done for the siding. Now I'm going to start working on this side. All right, so this door is opened up now, and I'm getting ready to start cutting the pieces for both of these sides, and I just measured them. They're actually exactly the same, 28 and 1/8. So yeah, that's good. Makes it easy for cutting pieces. And I'll see how high I can get. I think I'm gonna have enough to get to the top of the door or just below the top of the door. The last piece is going to be a cutout, which I don't have. So I'll go as high as I can, and then I'm gonna have to wait until I can buy a piece to go across there. So we will see. Whew, so many nails. So this side is done. Everything's nailed in. Luckily I had enough pieces. I could do a seam here, which most of this is going to get covered by the trim anyway. So, and then the remaining part I'll fill with caulking. So I'm going to have the same thing on this side, where I will add another piece in there when I get more siding material. But this side is done, so now I'm to the point where I could start working on the door. All right, a few days have passed, and as you can see, I got this side painted as well now. Getting ready to start framing out this door, so the first thing I need to do is to cut this baseboard and remove that. Sawzall is one of the most helpful tools that you can have. I've had this one for many years, probably like 12, 15 years maybe. And even though I don't use it every day, like, it's super helpful. Good tool to have. All right, so the sill board is cut. The next step is going to be to frame this up and put 1x4s on this opening, as well as the 1x4 on the outside, and that's what the hinge will attach to for the door. So now I'm going to get to that. All right, so the frame is all in, and like I said, this is just a 1x4. So that's basically going to give me a place, and there will be another 1x4 here, and then that will be white, so that'll be the trim. That's where the hinges for the door will go. So basically this is going to be the finished door size here. So it'll be just under 48 inches. So I went ahead and trimmed this out, trimmed the doorway out. I was going to paint these pieces prior to putting them on, but I figured they're going to be painted all the way around, so they'll be pretty well sealed anyway. So the doorway is all framed out. Next we'll be getting to building the actual door. So this opening is 46¼ inches. So I'm going to have two 23-inch doors basically. Might even end up being like 22 3/4, because I want to be able to leave, you know, probably about a 1/4 inch gap between the side, just to give it space, maybe a little less. We'll see once I start actually making it and laying it out. And then it's basically going to have two hinges. The doors, I'm making them so that they can open all the way up and then just go against the wall. So when this door is open, or when I'm putting things in or out, you can just open the doors all the way up, and that'll be it. So I got these two windows trimmed out as well now. So the door frame and the windows are all trimmed out. This wood was still a little bit wet, so I'm gonna let it sit for a day or so, and then I'll paint. It looks good. All right, so this is going to be the base piece for my door, and basically what this is 3/4 inch plywood. I can't tell if this is showing up because it's so bright out, but basically I mapped out where my doors are. You can see the line here is going to be the cutoff, so that's going to be the height of the door. And then there's two lines going down the center here, and that's each door. So the opening of the doorway is 46 1/4, and I'm basically subtracting 3/4 from that so that I have a 1/4 inch gap in the middle and on each side. And then the door, half of that comes out to 22 3/4. So that's going to be the size of each door. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Basically, I'm going to cut the end off there, and then I'm going to just rip a line down the middle of this, and then I'm going to finish these long edges off on my table saw. All right, so that's basically my 2 doors there, and I left spacing, you know, probably 3/4 of an inch all the way around, because I want to have about a 1/2 inch at the bottom and about a 1/4 inch at the top, and then a 1/4 inch on the middle and each side. So that's the rough cut doors. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to frame everything out so it has the barn door look. All right, so I have my doors set up on the sawhorses here, and I set up my canopy because the sun is really blazing today. So basically what's going to happen now is I'm going to take these trim pieces, which are 1x4s. They're the same as what I used around the windows and the door. And I'm basically going to frame this out. So there will end up being pieces that go all the way around the outside. There will be a cross piece in the middle, and then there's going to be a diagonal and a diagonal. And then both doors will mirror each other. So I'm going to do this on both sides. So it'll have the framing on the bottom and the top. So when the doors are open, they'll have the same design on them as when they're closed. So should turn out pretty nice. And then of course, once it's all painted, it'll match the shed just right. All right, so I have all of my pieces cut, all the framing pieces, and I am actually out of wood. So I will be adding in cross pieces here. So there'll be a cross piece basically that goes from this corner up to there, and then from here up to that corner, and then the same on this side, from that corner up to that corner, from here down to here, and then that'll be on both the inside and outside of the door as well. So this is the basic part. I'm going to go ahead and install all these pieces, nail them and glue them up, and then I will add those center pieces once I'm able to get to town and get some more wood. But for right now, I could totally finish these doors out. I could even mount them because the hinges will go on these outside rails, and it'll still be good. All right, so you just saw me put this door together. So the center pieces, I don't know how I managed to measure it wrong, but they're off. And I tried for the other set of doors, they're both off. So I am going to recut those also when I get more wood. So basically, I guess the doors will just be this way. If I have enough scrap, I'll get that center piece cut too. I gotta go see. I have some other pieces on the ground over there that might be long enough. So yeah, so this door is done. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other door, but I'll do that off camera and then get both of these ready to go on. Okay guys, so I got my doors done. You can see behind me here. I went ahead and put some paint on. Basically just wanted to get the edge where the hinge is going to be mounted. I wanted to get a couple coats of paint on that, so I did that. I also painted the frame on the actual shed itself where the hinges will be mounted. So I'm at the point now where my doors are ready to be hung. So I'm going to get to that. Whew. Hot today. Beautiful day. But it's really warm. Real quick, I just wanted to show the hinges that I got. These are galvanized hinges, so they should be pretty good for weather and corrosion resistance, as well as the lock is the same galvanized material. Has like a little brass colored pin on there. Also on the hinges, it has that too, little brass colored pin. So that's what I got to hang the door. Alrighty. Nice. So I will be adding, there's going to be some trim pieces that are going to go here with a, the foam liner, like the door seal. So there will be a trim piece that goes all the way up here across the top. And then also on the back of this door, I'm going to put a trim piece that's going to stick out, inch and a half this way. So this door will have to be closed first, and that door will close over top of it. So that way this door will be pretty well sealed. I know it's not going to be airtight, but I'm not really looking for that. I just want to try and keep some of the bugs out, pests, whatever. And then I will put a door seal on the bottom as well too, or possibly even a threshold. But I think I want to try and keep this open, because one of the next things that I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing laying cement and putting a ramp here that's going to go out so that it'll have easy access. All right, so the last little thing was just getting the latch on. So that's all set up. So this is pretty much done. I'm thinking now I may not even add the cross pieces. We'll see. These doors are already pretty heavy. I might go with maybe a 1x2, like a thinner piece, but I don't know. We'll see. Once I get it painted, I'll see what it looks like, and maybe I'll throw another one on or just keep it like this. Turned out pretty good. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up this episode. This episode we did the siding on 3 walls, and then we did the barn doors. So I still have the interior wall, which is on the carport side. I still need to get siding for. I did the trim on the windows, the trim around the door, and then of course the barn doors. So that is it for this episode. Got a lot done. I know this episode's probably a little longer. I don't know. I didn't really look at the time, but I think it turned out good. I'm liking how it's coming along so far. And I just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Aloha.